coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. It's morning again. This worked out pretty good. I got up this morning and looked at the computer, and I had a pretty good question, and there was some good input on that video that I did yesterday. So I think I'll stay with it, and I'll just read you this. Hello, first I'd like to thank you for encourage you for keep up the fight for yourself and all small farms I have been following closely. For whatever reason, YouTube isn't letting me comment. I'm terribly interested in the new cow series. Please go into great detail on everything from stanchion dimensions to vacuum system to milk handling. It will be much appreciated. So it made it easy for me to know what I was going to do today. This is where I start. I get up, come down here, I come into the butcher shop. This is where we have a cooler here, so we're keeping our milk here for now. So I thought I would show you what I do first. First, this is our milking system right here. This thing's probably about 75 years old. If you can get one of these, do it. Because if you're going to milk one or two cows, you don't want a pipeline system or anything like that. The pipeline system would be where it comes out of the cow, goes into a pipeline, and goes directly into a bulk tank. A bulk tank is a refrigerated tank that's designed to, hold a lot of milk. I have one that's 150 gallons because I aspire someday to have 10 cows and that many cow share people. But right now, I only have 4 cows, and this does just fine. I got this, it was at my wife's grandfather's old place, which is now her brother's place, and this was something that he used when he was a young man. So I'm sure it was used when he got it, but if it was brand new, that would still be 50 years. And I can still get all these components, all these rubber pieces, and I'll kind of take it apart for you and show you what it looks like a little bit. This part, from what I can gather, they call this the claw, not the craw, the claw. This part is called the shell, and it's independent of this rubber part here. This is called the inflation, or sometimes they call them tit cups. All right. This part on the top is the pulsator, and I'm not going to go into too much detail how it works or anything like this because there's several of these out on the market that you can get. And some people would prefer to just do it by hand. If you're milking one cow, that might not be a bad idea, but I always aspired to go a little bit further than that. So when we could get our hands on this, we did. And actually, this is what started the whole cow craze around here. Is I had this piece of equipment for milking cows, and so I got a cow. We had one cow for quite a long time. So it goes right on here, and then there's a vacuum pump that's over in the barn where I milk, and it hooks up by a tube right here, and it makes vacuum. These inflations, expand and contract, and then there's some suction, and it simulates the calf's mouth, and the milk drops down into here. This will hold 5 gallons, and when it's full, it's heavy. All right, what do we do with it from there? Is you have to put it in something and cool it off, and there's a lot of ways to do that. If you have one cow, you could have 5 gallons a day, which we do with Rosie. She just freshened. I'm going to go through some of these terms too. When a cow freshens, that means it just had a calf, and a calf is a baby cow. And if it's a female calf, it's a heifer. If it's a male, it's a bull. If we castrate the bull, he's a steer. And when the heifer calf has her first calf, she's a first-year heifer. But when she has her second calf, she's a cow. Okay, so some terminology right there. All right, once we have the milk in the pot, we have to put it someplace. Now, there's all kinds of ways you can do this. And I went and looked at stainless steel containers, and they were $275 a piece. And I would need one for every day of the week, at least one. And I even considered it for a while. But then when I go to restaurants, they stack these these are food grade buckets, and they stack them up outside. And this one had pickles in it. And what I do is I wash them out real good. I mean real good. And then I placard them milk, so they don't get used for anything else. All right. Now they're food grade. We've been doing this for a good 6 months and not had a problem at all. There's no smells or anything like that. We can put 4 or 5 gallons of milk in here. We can stick it out in the snow to cool it off if we don't want to run refrigeration, and we don't run refrigeration if we don't have to run refrigeration. It's mostly for the summertime. So right now I'm cooling my milk off just in the walkway of this butcher shop here, because it'll get down to about 35 degrees even when it's sub-zero. It'll just go to about 35. Get the milk nice and cold quick enough. And milk, we don't have to cool it down super quick. We really don't. It's raw milk is full of all good little antibodies that will keep the milk in good shape for about 6 or 7 days, so long as it's kept down around 40 degrees. We haven't had any problems. All right, so that's what I do for storage. You guys can do what you want, but it's worked out really good for us, and it's cheap. And then I take the tops, right? You know, the top has like a claw that hangs down on the side, so when you put it down on the top of the bucket, it snaps on. We don't want that. Plus, the bucket has a gasket right here. I mean, the lid has a gasket. And you don't want that because you have to pull the gasket out every time. All we really want this for is a dust cover. We want this to sit on top of the bucket, because it's not like we're walking around through the jungle with this bucket. We don't want to spill it. We put in 4 or 5 gallons, and then we set it in the cooler, or we set it in the snowbank, or we set it in the cool entryway, something like that. And there it sits. I wouldn't want to have it uncovered, but I don't need to snap the lid down tight. We did try another system. It's called gamma lids, which you can get all over the place. And they're really nice, but they don't work for this because you can't clean them. This, I can clean this very easily. Actually, I set this down like this, put a little dishwashing soap on there, hit it with hot water, and it runs down into all the crevices, and then I hit it with high pressure water from our hose in here with hot water, and it just cleans it out nice. And then I'll scrub it, and this too, placarded milk. Alright, so it doesn't get used for anything else. Alright, then when we've milked the cow, it's in the bucket, in the pot, and we want to get it in the bucket, we have to strain the milk. So this is a strainer. I'd say this thing's as old as the rest of this equipment. And it sits right on the top of this bucket. Is that okay? Sits right there like that. It has, excuse me, it has this system, and then you put a paper filter on it, and it sits right down in here. Right? And it's pretty important to do that because, you know, as good as we can wash off the cow, there's always going to be something that will get in there, you know, and you see like a black speck, nice white milk, and you can see it. And I don't know, it's a tremendous health issue because, you know, all that good germs, I think you need them anyway. All right, well, that's my equipment that I use in here. At another time, we'll go through how to clean this equipment because, like this claw has, you know, several pieces to it. You can see there's several components, and this thing has to be broken down completely each time and washed thoroughly. So we'll go through that. But for today, that's the equipment that I start with in the shop. Let me go put it to use.